Hello everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL and welcome back to a weekly series helping you find some good value free agents and waiver pickups in Draft FPL. International break over with then, and we're looking ahead to game week 8. There's just another international break around the corner in like 3 or 4 weeks time, so let's enjoy the Premier League while it is back. As always, if you enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get stuck into the first pick today, which is Milenkovic of Nottingham Forest, available in 75% of Draft FPL leagues, and that information is supplied to us as always by draftfc.co.uk. You can get a 1-month free trial by using code SNAKEDRAFT to check out all the draft-based information that is available on their site. Looking at Forest specifically, the defensive data for them so far this season has been really strong. I've been impressed by the way that Nuno's kept control of games, and I think he's really doing a pretty decent job at Forest, to be honest. The next 3 fixtures are really good. Palace at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home, and I think there's at least 1 or 2 clean sheets available for Forest in these 3. Palace have been really struggling to find fluidity in attack this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if Forest do shut them out this week. So I think a really good idea to pick up a Forest defender that you can sit on for the next 3. Leicester, again, another poor attacking side. Even though that one is away from home, it's a really good fixture. Then West Ham at home. West Ham attack is slightly better than the other 2, but I still think that with how Forest set up, they've got a decent chance at shutting them out. So I think picking up one of the Forest defenders is a good shout. I like Milenkovic just because he's got a loads of threat from set pieces. But if you wanted to go elsewhere, you could also look at Alex Moreno, available in 92% of leagues. And he's got a little bit more open play threat. But to be honest, the fullbacks don't go forward that much. They do attack, but not like a crazy amount. So personally, I think I'd probably rather go for Milenkovic for the set piece threat, but I think both of them are good options. Next up, we've got Sugara of Southampton, available in 92% of leagues, and there won't be many periods in the season where I'll be recommending a Southampton defender for you unless something changes drastically. But game week 8, game week 10, Leicester at home, Everton at home, I do think if ever they're going to keep a clean sheet, it's in these fixtures. So I actually think it's not a bad time to punt on one of the Saints defenders. My preference is Sugara just because he's the most attacking, and I think even if they do lose that clean sheet, he gets forward loads and there is definitely a chance he could get an attacking return. I think Kyle Walker-Peters on the other side is probably the second best choice because of his attacking threat as well. So I think either one of those are good picks. I think his ownership is very similar, sort of definitely single digits, so one of them at least should be available for these fixtures. You're definitely going to have to bench or drop for game week 9, City away. You do not want to be playing them that week, even if it is off the bench. So I think it's definitely not a bad idea to go for one of these 2 for the good fixtures in 8 and 10. Obviously, you've got to temper expectations. It's still Southampton. They're still one of the worst defences in the league, but they're playing against a team that really are struggling in attack away from Leicester, obviously away from home. I think it's a good week to go for it. Next up, we've got Leif Davis of Ipswich, only available in 35% of leagues, but I thought I'd shout him out because it is a really, really good pick. For the next 3, Everton at home, Brentford away, Leicester at home, 3 great fixtures for Ipswich. And Leif Davis is actually very, very attacking. We're talking like one of the most attacking defenders in the Premier League. With the way that Ipswich set up, he just roams so far forward on that side. And Everton are definitely not the best defence or the best attack, let's put it kindly. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a low-scoring game, to be honest. And it just strikes me as the type of game where you could spike an absolute haul. If things go your way and you do get the clean sheet, which isn't, it's far from guaranteed. I think it's about 27% chance, so let's call it 1 in 4. If you get lucky and you do manage to get that clean sheet and you get an attacking return, which is probably less likely, let's call it 1 in 6, you've got like a 1 in 25 chance of getting an absolute game week winning return from someone you've picked up off the waivers. So I think for the next 3, I'm going to try and get him in as many leagues as I can, just to see if we can spike that massive return, which is definitely on the cards and I think will come at some point this season. On to midfielders next then, and Jack Grealish, available in 49% of leagues. As someone that owns Doku and Savio in quite a few leagues, it's been frustrating for me to watch Jack Grealish get quite a few starts this season. And I think the main reason is because when Rodri's out, which he is going to be for most of the rest of the season, it seems to me, and I'm not a Pep Guardiola expert, although I do like to kind of delve into why he does what he does. It seems to me that he likes to play the wingers that try and keep control of the game a little bit more and dominate the ball more, which is Grealish and Bernardo Silva, instead of the 1v1 dribblers that sort of create more chances, which is Savio and Doku. And Rodri's out for the long term. They need that ball retention, it seems to me. So I think Grealish might get a decent amount of starts, in the medium term until something changes. And with this run of fixtures, if he can start just 2 of these 4, you'd expect something from him. I know his attacking returns have been very few and far between since he's been at City, but we know how good he is. There is a player in there, and if he can just spike a couple of returns, he could be a very good pickup. Wolves away, Saints at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton away. It is 3 away games out of the next 4, but the fixtures are so good that you definitely want to be getting on if you can. Next up, Jacob Murphy, available in 93% of leagues. Another player that's not guaranteed to start, although I do think he probably will start this week against Brighton. It's definitely the 1 week punt territory. I just think Newcastle are going to score a few goals in this game. Brighton's defence has been pretty ropey, and kind of the specific problems they've got are things that Newcastle are very good at, especially at St James's Park, which is, turnovers high up the pitch and, quick counter-attacks, breaking against a high line. I think there's going to be goals in this game. Even if Murphy only gets half an hour, that could be enough to have a decent return. So I am going to kind of watch and wait with him probably and see if we get any kind of clues or hints about who's going to start. There obviously is the chance it could be Gordon and Barnes on the wings, but I wouldn't be too surprised if Murphy gets the nod, but I will definitely be waiting to see if we get any information that could help us, make that decision. Next up is Ahmad, available in 57% of leagues. Not played against Villa and didn't get many minutes in the week before that, I don't think. And he has, come out of the team a little bit recently. But what I will say is Garnacho doesn't generally seem to start after the international breaks. I've not checked when the Argentina fixtures are, but I would assume he's coming back late, probably today. And depending on how many minutes he's got, I think there's a decent chance that he could be benched for this game, Brentford at home, in which case I would suspect that Ahmad would start. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Ahmad starts. It's just the pattern that we've seen over the recent international breaks, and when coming back starting the new season, we did see Garnacho get eased in and Ahmad starting. And if he does start, Brentford at home, such a good fixture. Brentford's defence is really not good, and I think even United could score a couple of goals this weekend. So if Ahmad's likely to get the start, he's definitely coming in for me. Next up, we've got Tyler Dibbling, available in 95% of draft leagues. As I said earlier about Southampton, a couple of really good fixtures. Leicester at home and Everton at home. Wolves away, and 11's pretty good from an attacking point of view as well. And Dibbling is by far and away the best. He's the best attacker at Southampton, and he's probably the best player at the club at the moment. Playing really well, and I don't think he's going to be only 5% owned for the entire season. He just strikes me as someone that's going to get a decent amount of attacking returns in a really poor side. And what I will say about Saints is, even though they've kind of been very naive in their games so far, they have created a ton of chances. It's only because they've not been finishing it well is why they've scored so few goals. They are always going to almost always going to concede, and they are going to concede chances. But from an attacking point of view, I do think they create a little bit. So someone like Dibbling that absolutely does look like a proper Premier League player. I think when the fixtures are good, he's a very good pick. Next up, we've got Souček, available in 57% of leagues. It's Tottenham away for West Ham this week, which is, always a bit of a contentious fixture, Tottenham-West Ham. But I do think that Tottenham, despite being not a bad side, they are a terrible defence. Truly terrible, especially from set pieces. They are one of the worst set piece teams in the league. And I think that West Ham could definitely exploit that, as that's one of their strengths, especially Tommy Souček, one of the best attacking, one of the best attacker of set pieces in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if they just float balls into him all day, every day, trying to get on the end of one of them. And it wouldn't surprise me if he does, considering Tottenham's record from defending set pieces. Seems like, not an obvious pick, but actually I think it could work out quite well. On to the only forward I've got for you this week is Archer. So Ross Stewart, who I picked out last week for Game Week 8 and Game Week 10, got injured in the Arsenal game quite early on, had to come off. So it looks like it probably will be Archer who gets the nod. I'm hoping that I'm not going to spend the entire season just cycling through the Southampton forwards on the waiver picks, but that is kind of how it's been so far. Mainly because none of them are performing, so none of them are staying in the team. But I think Archer is probably the best finisher out of all of them, and the fixtures are good. So if he does get the nod in Game Week 8 and Game Week 10, I'd say there's a pretty decent chance he gets at least a goal in one of the two, you would have thought. I can't see Saints not scoring in either of these home games, and Archer and Dibbling are the two that seem most likely to get the attacking returns. Okay, that wraps up all my picks for Game Week 8. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for watching. Check out draftfc.co.uk. Use code SnakeDraft. Look at the Patreon as well. The link's in the description below. Absolutely selling it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.